Greetings, this is Griff Ruby, the Nostalgic Catholic, with another Touched by an Angel episode review. This one, as you can tell from the expression on Monica's face, is about one where she really is not going to want to have anything to do with this episode, or the story of it. At least going into it, it's not something to look forward to. So, this episode starts off rather unusual. I'm going to show this a little clip from the very, very start. Well, let's just do it.
You know what I think? I think you just did your best work yet.
I was good, wasn't I? If I could keep those two together, I could do anything.
Well, don't get carried away.
Oh, I'm not getting carried away. It's just I think I've learned the tricks of the trade.
There are no tricks to this trade. Caring and hard work and more caring. That's what we're here for.
Well, can't I take pride in what I do?
Remember, my darling, pride goeth before the fall.
So, now that looks like the end of an episode. I really would have liked to see what it is she's supposed to have done for that couple to bring them back together again. But that's not the story here. The story is she and her pride. And especially her pride being an issue, she gets to go through a tough and painful lesson. So, the episode is called There But For the Grace of God Go I. So, let's get introduced to the main character and his life as we first meet him here. His name is Pete. I'll just call him Pete. He's got a last name, but that's not relevant here. So let's show him Pete.
I'll never understand why people let that happen to me.
You will. This man is your next assignment.
He is.
He is.
Okay, so am I going to volunteer to shelter or counsel the homeless?
None of the above.
Well, how am I supposed to help them then?
Well, baby, the only way to share this man's pain is to share his pain.
Oh boy. And she's just kind of now get to this side right here. Oh no, you don't mean what I think I do. Yeah, she means what she thinks he does. So what's gonna happen next? I kind of like the way this shot goes. You know, what's gonna happen to her? Well, let me look at this song. Now, homeless, abandoned, lost. Well, this is the one where she spends a little time being a homeless person and experiencing the cold, the hunger, everything else that they go through, and we'll get some taste of some of the stuff that is. And it's horrible. I mean, it's a real plight. She has to go to a garbage can, and she's pleased to find a glove that's at least warm for one hand. And then Pete comes up. He's first kind of like, hey, this is my alley. Well, I'm just looking for the gloves here. And he's like, oh, pardon for the mess. It's the maid's day off. At least he's still got a sense of humor. Well, things will happen that'll even take that away from him till the end. And even then, I don't know that we see much in the way of humor, but at least some cheer at the very end. But in the meantime, it's time to be mean. And times are going to be very harsh and mean on this dear man. But for the moment, he's able to joke as he decides to jump into the dumpster and see if he can help her find another glove, which he does, a lighter, which is nice, and a pair of shoes for himself. So this makes her she's kind of cheerful to at least have that much. So that's why she's cheerful here, but it's really not. Then he changes his shoes. He takes off the ones he had to put on the new ones. And look at those feet. Look at that foot. Blisters, sores, areas that just don't heal. You usually don't have socks. You just got shoes. They don't fit very well. They don't protect from the cold. They may have been worn by people who also had messy feet and diseases. Who knows? But you're better off with shoes than without, even though this is what it does. So she's kind of figuring what to do. He's kind of saying, well, over there's the place. You can sleep there. You can't sleep there except in bad weather. But they got a few other things like showers and meals and things. But you don't want to have to go there, apparently. And he doesn't feel he belongs there because he's not what even he thinks of as your typical homeless person. He has a past. And in the course of this, we get some glimpses of that past. So she's kind of going along, and he says, well, I'll be fine. And he kind of walks off, and she's like, well, that's fine. And she just turns around, and bam, there's Tess right there. And not cheerful. No, don't you hello me. And here it is. There she is. Don't you hello me. Your assignment just walked off. He's got a job. He's got a head on his shoulders. He's gonna make it. He'll be fine. Well, he talked up a good I'm okay speech, but it really wasn't. What was his job? Well, back in the days gone by, there was a lot of this squeegee. You kind of wash somebody's windows and hope maybe they'll appreciate the favor and give you a buck or two, And the guy's all saying, I don't need that done. Get away from my car. You're messing it up. Boy, what do you do? Meanwhile, we saw when we were first being introduced to him. Or did we? Wait a minute. Yeah, we did. We saw that he has a van kind of parked out behind some sort of I guess a delicatessen or some sort of food place. And the guy who runs this place is named Gus, and he'll let him sweep and do a few minor odd jobs and give him a little thing full of food. And he's just done so. But he's happy to say, I'll take care of her, because his wife just doesn't approve of that at all. But that's his wife. He'll do that for him. He's a nice guy. And so forth. And he's eating this food, and he's having this memory. This is a glimpse from the life he had when he had a life. In the foreground there, you only see her from behind with the hair, is his wife. He was married. And she's saying, no, let's not eat till we give thanks. And he's all, oh, yeah, you're right. Later on he says, yeah, you have enough faith for the both of us. It's like her faith was really something that, even if he didn't share very much of it, he could appreciate it in her because he could see what it did for her. And that in itself was something pretty valuable. And there they are in better times. They're in a house. They're having a nice meal. And now suddenly here he is sitting in the back of his van by himself, eating this little thing that, it's only, even that isn't there except because of Gus's kindness that he's got something to eat at all. And as he's eating that, he's remembering this. So, it's a little glimpse of Pete the man before he was, okay. Well, we have another individual she meets. And this guy, well, she was given a lighter. Pete found a lighter for her in the trash. Oh, hold on to that. That's a good thing. Yeah. And even Tess, hold on to that lighter. And the very next thing that happens is it's knocked out of her hand, falls to some sort of grate on the street, and falls through. There's some guy underneath that thing. You want it back? What can you give me for it? And she finally has to sacrifice one of her gloves. So she gives the glove and puts the lighter through. Okay. that was the deal. Well, later on, she meets the guy above the ground, and the guy has known Pete. He never knew Pete's name, but he knew that Pete existed. And so that's why he's saying that I never knew he had a name. So we'll see a lot more of him. He's an important character in all of this. So he's telling his life. He was a Marine. He has this ring that'll keep some interest later on. He was in Desert Storm. So, well, that was 1990, 91, 92, somewhere in that range. Well, now it's 1994. It's years later. He came home, and there's nothing for him to do. And he's shell-shocked. He's seen a lot of stuff. He has nightmares about it. He has this one nightmare that he's standing out in this field, and everybody's shooting bullets everywhere. He wants to run, but the ground's got all these mines all over the place. You don't dare, you're safe where you're standing, but you don't dare put your foot anywhere because that could be where a mine is. So he's scared to move, he's scared to not move. You know, that's one of these things that really messes him up. It's a tough thing to have to live with. Anyway, so having met him, and then she'll also have met another older lady named Sophie. We'll see something of her later on. And then he comes back, or then Pete comes back to his usual spot, and the van is missing. That's the back door of the delicatessen where Gus used to give him food. The van is gone, just like that. What happened to it? Well, Gus had to go off somewhere for some whatever. Suddenly, all that's left is the wife, and she's just all, I had it towed away and junked. You bum. Oh, boy. That lady just has no compassion at all. Poor Gus. Can you imagine being married to somebody like that? But he's got to put up with it. That's what he's done, and there he is. He's made his bed. He makes the best of it. As long as he was around, he could keep some compassion going. But if you had to go for even a day, that happens. And so the van, which still had what little there was of his, gone. And then he has this memory. This is another glimpse of his life. Here he is, a little pillow talk at night with his wife, and she's saying, promise me we'll go to Colorado. All the way through, she has this peculiar obsession with, I want to go to Colorado. I don't know, maybe she has family there. I don't know. She wants to go to Colorado, and that kind of a simple dream. Get in a car and drive over there, lady, you know? Or the two of you if you want to see it together. I mean, come on. Nowadays, I hear people are more likely to leave Colorado than come to it, but this is 1994, and Colorado was a good state, and in many ways it probably still is, I'm sure. That was like the big dream. But she couldn't go. He's got this whole line of tragedies. I don't know how much she'll hear here, and I'll kind of bring it up as there's occasion. Because they sleep, but they find this other place. The Marine guy has this other place to sleep. And he can sleep there. But the police do this raid on stuff. They're looking for people having drugs or weapons or something. And, you actually see them take a knife away from this one guy. Come on, it's just like, something to slice an apple with, and it's not a weapon. Except in what sense anything can be used as a weapon, even a fist, even cut their hands off. Anyway, they're kind of tough, and they're going through this guy's bag. So one thing that wasn't in his van is this bag full of a few things, and in particular, a canister of his wife's ashes. She's dead, you see. She died of cancer, as it turns out. So, it's this big hassle. That's my wife. That's her ashes. She's angry. You can't take that from me. Well, another day or two, whatever it is, it gets cold enough that you're allowed to sleep in the shelter. It's kind of weird. They have all these beds and everything ready to go, but unless the temperature drops below 35 degrees, nobody can sleep there. My use that is until suddenly it's cold enough. Oh, okay, now we'll open up. Now we'll let people stay there, so he can stay there. It's a kind of rather endearing scene. It's in the night there. The Marine is waking up, is screaming out from his nightmare, what I just described. And this guy comes and cheers him up, and you really just look. You kind of hope for more than this. Just planning no further than one day here. That's what's going to keep you here. And, he's trying to encourage the Marine. I believe in you. I think you can do more than this. I think there's more for you than this. And after he's all done, he goes back to his own bed and discovers, horror of horrors, no, somebody stole my bag. The bag that has the canister with his wife's ashes. Who stole that? It's like everything just taken from him. I mean, the poor guy's gotten clobbered. His business failed. There was some sort of banking failure that caused his business to fail. And then his wife got cancer, needed tons of attention. He devoted himself to that. He couldn't bother with medical bills until finally, one day, what happened? Until finally, one day, they took the house, and she died. There's her ashes. And he promised, as you saw in that little bit of pillow talk, where he promised her that he would take her to Colorado, even from his own ashes. But he was going to do that. That gave him something to try to do to achieve a goal of a sort. And now even the van is gone. He could have used it to drive there, but he didn't even have money for gas. And now the van is gone. Now the ashes are gone. I mean, yeah. Mr. Beans is gone. How are you going to bring Mr. Beans now? So he is now so down on life. One of the other things his wife had inspired him to was to overcome drink. But at this point, he is so far down that when he sees some guys around a fire, the guy says, "What's your business? Here, what do you got there? Whiskey?" And he offers him whiskey. And after having vowed not to drink, it's like he's got nothing left for him. He didn't have his wife's ashes to bring to Colorado. All he can do is take whiskey, not feel the pain. So he's sleeping in just the middle of nowhere. And Monica's had her own share of hard times just seeing this and being part of it. And she's praying, "Oh, Father, why have you forsaken me? What have I done?" And now it's time for Tess to show up with the important lesson that's really neat. So, and of course, now she's just so glad to see Tess. It's now time for Tess to kind of point something out to her that I thought was really fascinating. Remember, this isn't so much about angels, which in a lot of ways they don't get all that stuff right anyway. It's about the human situation. Now, but let's look at that. She's not had some time as a homeless person. She's gotten to know Pete. She's gotten to know Sophie. And I forget the name of the Marine, but she's gotten to know him too. Zach, I think. Anyway, she's gotten to know these people. And see how they exist and how they live and how they struggle. And there she is feeling forsaken. But it's interesting. It's not that she's cold or hungry. Let's see what it is. Tess brings it out very beautifully in this little scene here.
Feels to be forgotten. To be stripped of everything you think makes you you. Huh? Huh? What'd you ask him for just now? Did you ask him for food? Did you ask him to make you warmer?
I asked to be remembered. I needed to know that I still mattered.
And so does he. You've been acting like a caseworker and treating him like he's a case. He's a man, Monica. And he needs to know that he can still make a difference. How it feels to be forgotten.
And there it is. And that's that. So, a chance to have your life mean something, to mean something to other people, to matter, to be remembered, to have something to be remembered for, to be part of humanity and not just this thing surviving on the edges of life with nothing to do but try to find something to eat each day. We're just finding food is a struggle. And then she decides to wash his feet. I don't know, this bowl with water in it just kind of mysteriously appears. There's the same feet. And then suddenly she's glowing and the feet are healed. And now she's able to explain. Now, she's an angel. God loves you. And there will be something more. We can put it together. And by the way, I mentioned the older lady that is named Sophie. I haven't seen any pictures of her in all of this. But there's this one picture where she's run away from a very destructive family situation where I guess even her life was in danger. But the person endangering her is no longer around. And the rest of her family is now looking for her. And your grandchildren. There. Okay. Your grandchildren are looking for you. So you can take them home. And then we meet one other character. He's kind of made a little bit of a business out of being homeless. His name is, they just call him Ox. And he's kind of in control of the situation, exploiting other people, making trades. He stole the ashes, which is why he has them to sell. Finally, this Marine surrenders his military Marine Corps ring for the thing of ashes and a quarter, so he can call his brother and try and get back with his own family. That's how the ashes come back. So our guy has a chance to shower, shave, clean up, and just start trying to be himself again at last. And of course, the final conclusion is he finally gets into Colorado. Let's do this again. Let's stop this. Gets to Colorado, you feel like just giving up the fight, but no, you gotta keep going. There he is in some mountaintop in the beautiful mountains of Colorado. It does have beautiful mountains, gotta give it that. And there he is, way in the mountaintop. He's able to drop her ashes in Colorado. What he's going to do from there, I don't know, but to achieve that much gave him an opportunity. And so that's really an interesting story. Kind of helps you understand and appreciate some of the things that go on. You know, I mean, do you ever really take the time to get to know some of these people? You know, it's really, I mean, some of them you just got, drug addicts. There's nothing in there, but there's a lot of them. There's some story. There's things that happened. And I don't know, it's a tough life. And in case you haven't noticed, these days there seems to be an awful lot more of that. Anyway, I think it's another one of those truly great classic episodes. It was even issued on tape way back before the making of the show was over. So that's kind of interesting that they actually released it on tape. It's one of the most special episodes. The Christmas ones, of course, that one. We'll see some others that are on tape. It's a very small select set that were put on tape before the show was over and the DVD started coming out. So, and we can see why. Well, thank you for listening.